CAP, the Council of Advanced Practitioners, allows experienced members to further their education, perhaps maybe at a more intensive level than the programming at the annual meeting. Although all of the programming NAELA does is great. But the Council of Advanced Practitioners, you have to have a certain level of experience to be a member of CAP. And so it allows people to get this additional education, and it also allows these experienced attorneys to have another leadership role in the organization, as Stu mentioned, the scholarship that they sponsor, that we sponsor. And so it's an opportunity for this group to make additional contributions.
It's sort of like graduate school. NAELA is an incredible resource. The members, the over 4,000 members we have share, but when you get into graduate school, you're dealing at a slightly different level. You're dealing with the same subjects, but the interaction is different. The peer interaction is different. I would want to say those of us who are more senior, I'm trying to be diplomatic here, but we have different experiences, we have different issues, and they are issues that someday hopefully will be the same issues that the regular NAELA membership will be experiencing, and by the time they become eligible to be CAP members, we may have answers to some of those questions.
Right. And CAP members give back because we write articles that are useful to members of NAELA as a whole. And so it's a real, I guess, win-win kind of organization.
Absolutely. In order to stay a member of CAP, not only do you have to have an experiential requirement, you have to belong to NAELA for a certain number of years, but you have to agree to give back. Every CAP member has to either present at a program, write an article, agree to be a mentor, and that's just part of being part of the stewardship, no pun intended as to my first name, of being a member of CAP. I have to stress that D rather than that T sometimes.
That's just why we call you Stu.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
The Council of Advanced Practitioners has been a real value to me because it's a group of people who are focused on very particular issues in NAELA. They're people who have learned the basics in elder law, who've been practicing for quite some time, and so they're issues that the first-time practitioner or the new practitioner doesn't come up with, mainly because they don't encounter a case of that complexity or they don't see the issue as yet. And the advantage to the group is that we sit down and talk about capacity, undue influence, which is a terribly difficult thing to prove, and sometimes it's difficult to recognize it. The council has given back to NAELA primarily through, as I've seen, the columns that the members write for the NAELA News, and the information we've been given and the encouragement that we've been given as members of the council is to write a short article of something that's basically a practice tip or something that you come across that you think, oh, I needed to know that. But I don't need to know that very often, so I'll write a quick column about this and alert other people to the same thing.
Yeah, the Council of Advanced Practitioners started as a group inside NAELA of the people with the most experience who were becoming bored with the presentations that were happening in NAELA because it was all geared mostly for those who were starting out and how does this work, and they were doing the speaking, and they just got a little bored. That's the best way I can describe it. And so it was thought that we would put together a group of those who had these advanced issues, didn't really want to talk about the basics because that was like breathing, and they didn't need to focus on that. And so I found it very helpful. We don't get together often, once a year. There's a pretty active listserv though, and there's some active committees, but the conferences are, I don't think we get CE credits at all. I think nobody cares about that. We're there to learn about things that are not going to be found in normal presentations or normal conferences because there just isn't time to delve deeply into them. And so it's not a group of wizards back in the back. I don't mean to interpret it that way, but they're just really, I find really very smart people very dedicated, very committed to the practice of elder law. And another comment you made was how they give back. A lot of the speakers in NAELA, a lot of the people who are doing things in NAELA are CAP members. And some of the public stuff is the publications that you may see, but you'll also see lots of CAP members involved. And CAP members are encouraged as part of the involvement with CAP to be involved and share and teach and help everybody else.
And the thing I found really helpful is sometimes you'll have a question that you've put out on the listserv that's come up in your practice, and you don't know the answer to it. And you don't get an answer on the listserv, and what you figure out is, well, nobody else who's on the listserv knows the answer either. And so you go to the CAP meeting and talk to 2 or 3 people, and someone says, well, try this, how about this?
Yeah.
And comes up with a suggestion for you and a way to try and solve the problem. So it's a group of higher level practitioners in that they're more experienced and they've found all these conundrums and tried to solve them.
For someone like me that's sort of thinking about maybe, this, like the basics are coming, every time I come is kind of the same thing and want more, what would you recommend as far as, is this a group that you have to apply for or is chosen, or it's like a fellowship type arrangement?
It is, you have to be a member of NAELA for at least 10 years. You have to be, if I remember all these right, you have to be AV rated.
Oh, yes.
And there's probably some other criteria. And once you become eligible based on your NAELA years, then your approach to say, hey, would you like to join? And then if you say, yes, I would, you fill out a little application, and the rest of the members of CAP have the opportunity to comment about people that are coming in and whether they'd be a good contribution or not. And rarely is there a time when someone would not have a good addition to the group. So yeah, I don't know how long you've been in NAELA, but once you hit that 10-year mark, you have hit the major hurdle for being able to join the group. And I would recommend you do. I found it very satisfying and helpful. And again, it's a smaller group within NAELA, so you got time to get to know each other even better. There's people in CAP that I knew kind of on the periphery for years, but never really were in a small enough group to be compressed and share time with each other. And I found the time with many of them at the CAP meetings to be just invaluable.